Dallas Willard, famous to aficionados of life, that, talks about the difference between being busy and being hurried. That busy is good, and lots of people are busy and purposeful, but hurried communicates a sense of anxiety, a sense of drivenness, of striving, and of stress. And the question is, where is that coming from? Are we doing it to ourselves? Are we letting it be done to ourselves? Or is it sometimes just a season we're going through? And then what do we do about it? I think for many people, they are hurried and they feel hurried. And one of the symptoms of that is a kind of distractibility and non-presence. So I'm kind of in the room with my kids, but I'm not noticing them really. I'm sort of listening to my wife, but I'm not really listening. I'm not really engaging, if you like. Or I'm watching this film, but I'm thinking about something else. I'm smiling at the joke rather than laughing at it because it's actually really funny. And I think for a lot of people that's what's going on. There's too much going on. Antidotes to that, I suppose, is the question. And the question of how one is present in the now, how one is able to focus one's attention on the now, is, I think, it's a skill, and part of it is learned, I think, through focus. And part of it, I think, is a fruit of two things. One is time apart, and the other one is the ability to connect with God, not just through time apart, but in the moment. And the majority of work done on how do we build a rhythm to our lives that enables us to be present into the now, to, within certain parameters, not be driven, not be hurried, to kind of rest in God, come to me, all ye who labour, and so on. Almost all that material is about separation. It's disciplines of separation. It's discipline of a silence away. It's disciplines of a retreat. It's discipline of having a quiet time in the morning or in the evening or whenever it suits. Those are the kinds of disciplines that we're good at. But actually what we also require is a lot of work on how do I connect to God right here in this street while I'm talking to you? How do I connect to God in a meeting? How do I connect to God in the noise of a factory? How do I connect to God when I'm squeezed in the tube on the Jubilee line between Finchley Road and Bond Street, for goodness sake, how do I create moments like that? And I think that notion of what Paul says about pray constantly is very important. I think we've characterized a lot of the development of our relationship with God in terms of dial-up, in terms of communication. We dial up God. We go somewhere, we pick up and we dial up. And actually that is really, really important, and we need to do it. Sabbath is key. A rhythm of some time during the year when you can say, I'm going to spend half a day alone with God, or a day alone with God 3 times a year or twice a year, intimidating as that may feel to begin with, is a really, really, really helpful discipline. But actually prayer is Wi-Fi. God is, he's always online. He's always online. And therefore the arrow prayer, just as I open the door to go in the meeting, the arrow prayer as the phone goes, the guy who goes to the loo 3 times daily, like Daniel prayed 3 times daily. When he's in the loo, he prays. The bloke who's a Tesco manager, he's got nowhere to go except his office. His office is in the middle, in the back. Pulls down the blinds for 10 minutes in the middle of his day and closes the door, locks the door and goes, ah! And then talks to God. The person who learns, the discipline of the prayer of examine, the prayer of reflection on what's just happened, which we've traditionally been encouraged to think about at the end of the day. Actually, my prayer of examine is, I just left that meeting. So Lord, is there anything that you were trying to teach me there? I'm walking down the corridor, I'm going to the next one. Did I do something wrong? Is there something I need to make right? What were you saying there? Those kinds of disciplines, I think, are critical to finding a peace in the now.